All night, the jungle echoed with the sound of grief. It wasn't a warning call, it was mourning. An elephant was crying under the stars, and no one knew why. Midnight pressed heavily over the Southeast African reserve, a thick humidity clinging to the trees like a second skin. The forest should have been asleep. Birds tucked in, predators conserving their strength, rivers whispering quietly in the dark. But tonight, everything held its breath, because something was crying. A low, broken rumble rolled through the darkness, rising and falling like someone begging the sky for mercy. It was not the sound of danger, not a roar, not a warning. It was sorrow. Aisha jolted awake inside her tent, the kind of awakening that comes from instinct, not noise. For a moment she sat up, heart pounding, trying to place the sound vibrating across the camp. Then she heard it again, a deep, aching cry. Long. Heavy. Filled with something raw. Her breath caught. It couldn't be an elephant crying like that. She pushed aside the flap of her tent just as Tom stumbled out of his own, her messy, eyes wide. "You hear that too?" he whispered. Aisha nodded. "That's not normal distress." The rumble swelled again, louder, more desperate. Even the insects went silent, as if giving space to a grief too large for the world. Aisha grabbed her radio. "Observation post. Do you have visual on the elephant making that sound?" Static crackled, followed by a tired voice. "Yes, Ranger Aisha. She's been at the dried riverbed since sunset, alone, hasn't moved. Not even to drink." Aisha exhaled sharply. Elephants didn't freeze in one spot for hours unless something was very, very wrong. Tom frowned. "Shouldn't we wait till dawn?" "It's pitch dark out there." The elephant cried again, a haunting, trembling sound that made Tom flinch. Aisha shook her head. "No, that's not the voice of an animal calling for help. That's the voice of something breaking." And with that, she slung her tranquilizer pack over her shoulder and started walking. The night rustled around them as they made their way through the brush. Moonlight slipped through tangled branches, splashing silver patterns on the forest floor. Every few minutes, the cry echoed again, closer, clearer, more anguished. Tom whispered, It almost sounds like she's calling to someone." Aisha didn't answer, because she felt it too, that eerie human quality in the elephant's voice. A vibration of desperation that cut deeper than instinct. They reached the dried riverbed. The earth cracked and paled beneath the moon. And then they saw her. The elephant stood under a dead baobab tree, a towering shadow against the sky. Scars etched her sides, old wounds from a life of surviving too much. Her trunk was raised toward the stars, trembling. Her ears drooped. Her breaths came in thick, shuddering waves. She wasn't eating. She wasn't drinking. She was grieving. Aisha felt her jaw tighten. "Oh, girl, what happened to you?" The elephant let out a sound, softer this time, but soaked in despair. Her eyes glistened under the moon, red-rimmed, reflecting something unmistakable. Tears, real tears. Tom whispered, "I've never seen anything like this." Aisha took a cautious step closer. The elephant suddenly snapped her head toward them, a flash of white tusks gleaming in the dark, and charged. Tom froze. "Aisha." But Aisha held her ground, palms open, heart hammering so loudly she could hear it echo in her ears. "Easy, girl," she whispered. "We're not here to hurt you." At the last possible second, the elephant skid to a halt, dust rising around her giant feet. She shook violently, trunk swinging, breath ragged, as if she wanted to push them away but couldn't. She was trying to protect something. Aisha scanned the ground. Then she saw it, a small mound of disturbed sand near the elephant's feet. Something dark was half buried beneath it. Aisha's stomach twisted. "Tom. There's something there." Tom crouched slightly, trying to get a better look. "What is it?" "A bag." The elephant roared, a sound so explosive it sent birds screaming from the treetops. She stomped the earth between them and the buried object. Dust sprang like a warning shot. Aisha raised her hands higher. Okay, we're not touching it." But her heart raced, because she recognized that posture. The trembling knees, the hovering trunk, the frantic protective stance. It was the stance of a mother. The mother of something buried. Aisha swallowed hard. Girl, what did you lose? Lightning flickered across the sky, illuminating the elephant's face for a split second, her eyes shimmering with unbearable pain. Thunder rolled right after, vibrating through the cracked riverbed. Then, as if the storm stole her last bit of strength, the elephant let out one final, heart-shattering cry. The kind of cry that made Aisha's throat close, and then the elephant's legs buckled. She collapsed onto her knees with a heavy thud, dust exploding around her. She lifted her trunk once more, pointing blindly into the night as thunder cracked above, as if calling out to something, or someone, who would never answer. Aisha gasped and ran forward despite the danger. Tom tried to stop her. Aisha, she could still. I know, but look at her, she's dying. They reached the elephant's side just as she trembled, struggling to breathe, her massive body swaying. Aisha dropped to her knees, placing a hand gently against the elephant's head. We're here, she whispered. Just hold on. But the elephant wasn't looking at her. Her gaze stayed fixed on that small, half-buried object in the sand, the thing she refused to leave, the thing she had cried for all night, the thing she had died protecting. Aisha felt her chest tighten with dread. What if? What if she already knew what was beneath that sand? What if she was mourning something no mother could survive losing? Then lightning struck again, and for one blinding second, the earth illuminated enough for Aisha to finally see what was hidden there. Something small, something fragile, something shaped like, and before Aisha could reach for it, the scene faded to white as thunder exploded over the riverbed. Dawn crawled over the treetops, pushing away the storm clouds that had haunted the night. The jungle usually woke with chatter, birds, insects, the rustle of life, but today, the forest was silent. The mother elephant stood exactly where she had fallen hours earlier, chest rising weakly, trunk limp, eyes locked on the same patch of ground. Not blinking, not moving, just waiting. Aisha approached slowly, the rescue team following behind her in a tight, grim line. She hasn't shifted an inch, Tom murmured, voice trembling. Aisha nodded. She didn't sleep. She didn't rest. She didn't even breathe properly. She swallowed hard. She's guarding something. The team spread out around the riverbed, their steps cautious, respectful, as though stepping into a sacred space. Aisha knelt beside the disturbed soil. The dirt looked freshly scratched, clumps pushed aside, leaves scattered in frantic patterns. There were deep impressions too. Marks from a trunk, desperate digs, heavy pacing. Tom exhaled. Something happened here. Something bad. Aisha brushed her palm over the ground. This soil was dug up recently, by her. A few feet away, a ranger knelt, pressing fingers into a spot of compacted earth. Sinkhole collapse, probably during last night's storm. Aisha closed her eyes. Then whatever's under here. She tried to save it. She motioned for shovels. Dig. Slowly, carefully, no sudden moves. She's watching us. The mother elephant did watch, unmoving, unblinking, breathing in shallow, painful gasps. When the rangers stepped too close, her ear twitched. When someone's shovel scraped too loudly, she let out a trembling rumble, as if reminding them this ground belonged to her grief. Minutes passed, then 30, then an hour. Until one ranger suddenly froze. His hand flew to his mouth. Boss, his voice cracked. You should see this. Aisha hurried over, and the world stopped. Just beneath a thin layer of soil. A small trunk lay still. Limp. Dusty. Cold. Aisha's breath shattered in her chest. It was a baby elephant, barely days old, half buried, as if the mother had been digging and pushing, trying to hold on, trying to revive it, fighting the night, the storm, and the very earth itself. The mother let out a sound, a low, shaking moan that rolled through the trees like heartbreak made real. Tom whispered, voice shaking. She was trying to dig her baby out. All night, Aisha knelt, her knees sinking into the sand. Tears blurred her vision. She reached out, but didn't touch. She couldn't bring herself to disturb the fragile innocence lying before them. The ground collapsed, she murmured. The calf got caught, the mother stayed here. She never left. Another ranger stepped closer, pointing out faint marks. Look at this. Tracks show she circled again and again. Tried lifting it with her trunk, and here, Tom added softly, blood on the stones. Her tusks, she must have used them. Over and over, until she couldn't any more. Aisha bowed her head. She fought the earth for her child. A wind passed, stirring the leaves. The rescue team moved to lift the calf's body, but the mother suddenly lunged forward, trumpeting a warning so fierce it made the ground tremble. Dust flew. The team stumbled back. Aisha raised her hand. Stop. Everyone back. The mother planted herself between the rangers and the calf, body shaking, grief transforming into sheer instinct. Protect what's left. Even now, even after death. Aisha, Tom whispered. She won't let us take it. Aisha wiped her eyes. Would you? No one answered. Hours passed. The sun climbed high, scorching the riverbed. Sweat rolled down the rangers' faces, but the mother elephant didn't move. She stood vigil. Her grief, her love, her exhaustion, all locked in her stillness. Her shadow stretched across the tiny body, shielding it from the harshness of day. Aisha stayed too, sitting a few meters away, refusing to leave the mother alone. She didn't eat. She didn't speak. She just watched, heart sinking deeper with every breath the mother struggled to take. As dusk approached, the sky turned gold and violet. The team set up camp near the riverbed, close enough to act, far enough not to interfere. Tom looked at Aisha, concerned. You haven't rested. Aisha shook her head. Neither has she. Night settled. The air cooled. Stars emerged. The mother elephant lowered her trunk, letting out a soft, mournful hum, a sound not of calling, but of singing. A lullaby, old as the earth, timeless. Aisha closed her eyes, listening. She sang goodbye. She whispered. Tom swallowed. Should we take the calf now? No, Aisha's voice broke. Let her have this. Let her finish her mourning. The jungle stayed silent. Minutes stretched into hours, until a faint sound broke the stillness. A small, muffled squeal. Soft. Weak. Aisha single quotes as eyes flew open. She grabbed Tom's arm. Wait, did you hear that? Tom froze, staring at the pit. Another sound came. Barely a breath, barely a cry, but undeniably alive. Aisha's voice trembled. Tom, that baby is still alive. Before dawn, the jungle glowed faintly with the cold blue of approaching morning. Floodlights snapped on one by one, slicing through the remaining darkness. The mother elephant, who had stood frozen in grief all night, was no longer still. She was pacing, digging, trumpeting in short, sharp bursts, her movements frantic, desperate, almost wild. Aisha ran toward her, breath catching. She knows, she whispered. She hears her baby. Tom joined her, face pale. Boss, the sound came again. I swear it. Aisha didn't hesitate. Mobilize the team. Now! The rangers gathered in a tight formation, heartbeats pounding beneath the roar of generators powering floodlights. Then there it was again, a tiny, muffled cry beneath the earth, the exact same fragile squeal they'd heard the night before. Tom staggered back. That's alive. That's a living calf. Aisha's breath trembled. We're not losing this baby. Not today. The race begins within minutes. Shovels arrived. Ropes were brought. A compact excavator from the nearby construction station was rushed in. Medical kits were set out, water tanks and oxygen masks prepared. But the mother elephant blocked the entire site, refusing to leave her vigil. Every time a ranger approached, she trumpeted in panic, as if protecting her child from the very people trying to save it. Aisha placed a hand on her flank, voice soft but shaking. We need to help your baby. Let us through. The elephant's ear flapped weakly, but she stood firm. There was no choice. We sedate her, Tom said quietly. Aisha closed her eyes. This felt like betrayal, tranquilizing a mother who had fought the storm, the collapse, the night. the earth itself. But this was the only way to reach the calf alive. The dart was prepared. Aisha stayed beside the mother as it was administered, placing her forehead gently against the elephant's skin. "We're not taking her baby from her," she whispered, voice breaking. "We're bringing it back." The mother swayed, groaned, and slowly sank to her knees, trunk dragging across the dirt toward the buried calf. The digging instant she was down, the team surged into action. Shovels hit the soil, hands clawed through mud. The excavator moved in slow, careful strokes, removing layers without collapsing the fragile pocket the calf was trapped in. Aisha knelt in the dirt, fingers bleeding from digging too fast. Tom beside her, the others forming a line, clearing bucket after bucket of wet soil. Minutes became a blur. The sun rose, the heat intensified. Sweat stung their eyes. The ground trembled with every scoop. Unstable, dangerous. Aisha yelled, "Slower. If the soil shifts, the pocket could collapse again." Tension squeezed the air tight, then a ranger froze. "Stop." Silence crashed over the site. Aisha crawled forward. "What is it?" The ranger pointed. A tiny tremor beneath the dirt, a twitch, a quiver, then a soft gasp. Aisha's heart slammed against her ribs. "That's breathing. That's breathing." The soil was swept away meticulously. And then the calf's trunk broke through the last layer. Limp, mud-covered, but moving. A cheer erupted, loud, uncontrollable, emotional, echoing through the jungle. They lifted the baby elephant with ropes and arms, laying it onto a dry mat. Its eyes fluttered open, weak, confused, fighting for life. Aisha's voice cracked with urgency. "Get oxygen. Get warm blankets. Move." The calf's chest rose and fell in shallow motions, then steadied, barely alive, but alive. The mother reacts. Thou sedated. The mother stirred, as if sensing her calf was breathing. Her trunk twitched, her eyelids fluttered. She tried to rise, but her body remained heavy with tranquilizer. Tom whispered, "She can hear it." Even now, Aisha swallowed hard, tears streaking mud on her cheeks. She never stopped hearing it. She cried all night because her baby wasn't gone. She knew it was calling from beneath her feet. And no one came. The truth hit the entire team like a punch. The elephant's grief wasn't for death. It was for helplessness. She heard her child alive, but trapped, and she couldn't save it. Aisha placed the calf near the mother's head, but not too close. Let her smell her. She murmured. The calf let out a soft squeal, the exact same one from the night before. The mother's trunk jerked toward the sound, even in sedation, instinct overpowering drugs. Aisha wiped her face. "You never gave up on her, did you? Not for a second?" The first rays of dawn slide over the clearing like a blessing. Light filters through the mist. Dew hangs on every blade of grass. For the first time in 2 nights, the jungle feels alive again, as if every creature has been waiting for this moment. The floodlights are dimmed, the machines are silent. Only the soft breathing of the calf fills the cool morning air. It stands shakily beside Aisha, still smelling of damp earth but alive, undeniably alive. Behind them, the mother elephant stirs. A faint tremor runs through her massive body. Her eyelids flutter, then lift. Confusion flashes first, the fog of sedation clinging to her, then something sharper, something instinctive. Her ears rise, her trunk lifts slightly, sweeping the air with urgency. Aisha whispers, "Easy." She's waking. The calf lets out a tiny chirp. Everything stops. The mother freezes, her trunk rises higher. She inhales sharply, one long, trembling breath that seems to pull the entire world into her lungs. Then their eyes meet. Silence. Pure, sacred silence. And then, from deep inside the mother's chest, a sound rises, not a cry of pain, not a call for help, but a trembling, aching song of relief. It rolls across the valley like thunder wrapped in love. The calf sways forward, legs still weak, but fueled by something ancient and unbreakable. It stumbles, rights itself, and runs. The mother lowers her trunk, meeting it halfway. She wraps it around her baby's small body, pulling it into her, holding it as though she will never let go again. She presses her forehead to the calf's head, rumbling softly, rhythmically, a lullaby and a promise. Tom wipes his face with the back of his hand. She was calling for help, he murmurs, voice cracking. Aisha shakes her head gently. No, she says. She was calling for hope. The mother nudges her calf toward the nearby water hoe. She moves slowly, every step deliberate, her body still weak but driven by something stronger than exhaustion. The calf follows, wobbling but determined. At the edge of the water, the mother lowers her trunk, scoops a small stream, and splashes it gently over her baby's back. Droplets catch the morning sunlight, sparkling like tiny stars. A baptism, a rebirth. The rangers stand behind Aisha, silent, humbled, changed. Days pass in a montage of healing. The mother begins to eat again, tearing leaves with renewed strength. The calf grows more playful each sunrise, exploring in clumsy circles, always returning to press its head against her side. The rangers keep their distance, but watch with reverence, documenting one of the rarest things they've ever witnessed, the survival of a calf that should never have lived, saved only by a mother's refusal to stop believing it was alive. Aisha writes reports, but every page feels incomplete. Facts are too small for what they witnessed. Weeks later, when the team prepares to release the mother and calf into the deeper, safer regions of the reserve, the entire staff gathers near the gate. Aisha approaches one last time. The mother pauses. Her massive frame casts a long shadow across the ground. Aisha reaches out, placing her hand on the edge of the elephant's tusk, a gesture of farewell, gratitude. And you taught us what love sounds like, she whispers. The mother elephant rumbles in response. Low, warm, full of meaning, not pain, not desperation, gratitude. As the gate opens, the herd waits in the distance, their silhouettes rising like statues against the golden horizon. They begin to trumpet, one after another, forming a wild, beautiful symphony that vibrates through the earth. The mother steps forward, the calf follows, confident and alive. The herd surrounds them, welcoming them home. Trumpets rise, joyful, powerful, echoing across the savannah as though the land itself is celebrating the return of a miracle. Aisha watches, the sun rising behind her. Her voice drifts over the scene like the final note of a story, too big for words. Some tears are not of sorrow, but of strength. And when the world finally listened, her cries became a song of life. The mother lifts her trunk one last time toward the rangers, a silent thank you. Then she disappears into the wild with her calf, stepping into a future they almost never had. Absolute catharsis, a miracle witnessed, a bond reborn, a jungle forever changed.